Hello. It's week 2. Let's get into it. I'm going to say that like 1,000 million times. I'm going to be real with y'all. I do not want to record this video right now. I'm experiencing a lot of intense and difficult emotions this week. I just want to lay in bed, turn on the new episode of Drag Race, and forget the world. But in the artist way, Julia talks about how doing the morning pages every morning trains you to show up regardless of the way that you're feeling. And, in the mornings, I'm all jazzed up and I'm ready for the day. I'm a total morning person, so it's easy for me to do the morning pages. As the day goes on, I get a little sleepy. I get a little stressed. I get, overwhelmed, especially this week. But I want to take that energy into everything that I do. And I think posting these videos is actually a really good thing for me because I have a commitment and I am going to show up no matter how I'm feeling. So here I am. Excellent. All right, week 2. This week addresses self-definition as a major component of creative recovery. You may find yourself drawing new boundaries and staking out new territories as your personal needs, desires, and interests announce themselves. Yeah, I feel like I am going through a major transitional period in my life. Out of necessity, a lot of my people, places, and things are having to change. And, some changes are easy. It's like trying out a new brand of cereal. Like, for example, I've been running more often than I have been going to the gym. And that's an easy shift. I love to run. But whenever it comes to people and places, I'm having to make some major changes. And it's hard. I feel like these places and people that have become a part of my identity are shifting very dramatically and intensely. And it's, I'm going to be real, it's painful. I feel like I'm kind of split in two. The one part of me that wants to hold on to these people and places, but the other part of me that recognizes that something needs to shift. And what I'm holding on to right now through this painful but exciting transitional process is just fuck. It's just my willingness to show up like I'm showing up today. Even though I really don't want to. I recognize that as time goes on, things are going to get easier. And I'm going to become a new person with a new self-definition. Whew, man, I love talking about my feelings. Okay, so let's answer the questions that Miss Julia is asking for the check-in. How many days this week have you done your morning pages? 7. Thank you. And how was that experience for you? The experience of the morning pages this week is so necessary. I've been using it. I'm going to cry this whole video, so just be prepared for that. I've been using them to, talk to my higher power. Previously, like last week, my morning pages were more of a, lots of prayer, lots of affirmations, lots of, honestly, to-do lists for the day. And this week, I'm kind of trying to be more intentional about making it a conversation with my higher power. So I've been asking a lot of questions, searching for guidance, asking how I can be of service through my creativity and just in general with the people around me. So we're going to power through, y'all. She says, remember, if you are writing your morning pages, they are working for you. Next question. Did I do my artist date this week? What did you do and how did it feel? So my intention this week was to mess around with some projection mapping because whenever I perform my music live, I really want to have visuals with a projector or screen. My intention was to do that this week, but I ended up recording a DJ set and it felt really spontaneous because in one of the tasks, I'll talk about this, it talked about doing things that you love to do, but maybe you haven't done in a while. So I hadn't DJ'd in a while. I had a set already kind of prepared in my head that I had practiced 2 months ago. And spontaneously, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to record it in my backyard. I don't really care about what it looks like. I just need to record it and finish it and practice DJing. And bam. And I did it on Wednesday. I dragged all my equipment out here. It took like 5 tries. I was getting so frustrated. I almost gave up. But on the last try, I just said, one more time. And I got a really solid take. As I was editing the video, I, wanted to make it look really cool. Hello. And it took a lot of time. And I just decided, this is going to be my artist date this week. I spent time with my artist by DJing and doing something that my artist loves to do. And there's a lot of unreleased tracks, which I'm really excited to showcase. It was kind of a slog, honestly. It was difficult to force myself to just bring all of my stuff out here, not think about it, just push through I don't really want to do this, or, this is going to take too long, and just do it. And especially with all of the takes that I had to do, that was difficult. So even though it felt difficult, I, in this moment, feel really proud that I was able to push through that resistance and get it done. And I just uploaded it like literally 10 minutes ago. Feeling really good about it. The textures and the elements that I used, the animation elements that I used, are from Ezra Cohen. He has some really fantastic elements that I purchased years ago, and I love using them. Yeah, I think they match the vibe of the music really well. So with the artist date, it was hard, but I feel proud that I was able to get through it. I need to stretch. All right, let's run through a couple of the tasks for this week. One of them being affirmative reading every morning and night. Read the basic principles to yourself. So Julia has a list of 10 basic principles that are the bedrock on which creative recovery and discovery can be built. So these are so fascinating. My favorite are creativity is God's gift to us. Using our creativity is our gift back to God. And then as we open our creative channel to the Creator, many gentle but powerful changes are to be expected. She really popped off with those. Another task was list 20 things you enjoy doing. When was the last time you let yourself do these things? Next to each entry, place a date. And then the next task is to write down 2 favorite things that you've avoided doing that could be this week's goals. So some of my things that I wrote: running, DJing, riding roller coasters, road trips, dancing at a show, game night with my amigos, reading a compelling sci-fi novel, waking up hella early, seeing a compelling movie in theaters, photo shoots, exploring and spending time in the desert, going on long hikes. And, a lot of those, I didn't have a date, but I just had to write months ago because it had been, months since I had actually done those things. And my goals for the week were running, reading, and DJing. And I did all of those things. I've been running more often. I did my DJ set. And reading, I just started Annihilation again. I love this book. I wrote a song about it that I'm going to perform eventually at some point during this Artist Way journey. So it's a sci-fi horror novel. It's not like a classic horror novel. The really scary thing about this story is the uncertainty behind everything that the characters encounter. I've read this whole trilogy. You never get a full understanding of the threat. You never understand where it came from and why. I'm really grateful that I decided to pick it up on a whim, because this book is really speaking to me with all of the uncertainty that I feel in my life right now. There's a paragraph that I want to read from the introduction. Despite all our efforts, our observations, our ongoing experiments, even when carried out with care and rigor, the world remains largely unknown to us. We can create logical, plausible, even predictable narratives, but these are merely hypotheses. To think we have attained, or someday might attain, a complete clarity, much less bend the world to our will, vastly overestimates our powers. To expect certainty is just another example of human hubris. And yet, sometimes, often even, action is required of us. We know that we do not know enough, and we know that we must act anyways. That just makes me emotional, because that's how I feel right now with all of this change that's happening. The story going forward is really uncertain, but I have to act anyways. And even though that passage sounds kind of dark, for some reason I just find it very comforting. I feel like it is describing my experience really clearly, especially with the narratives that we may come up with it, but they're merely hypotheses. Like, that's just how I feel right now with a lot of things. And that passage helps me understand that that's kind of just the nature of things and uncertainty and newness. Another task was to make a life pie. So basically dividing your life into different sections and kind of rating how fulfilled you feel in that area of your life. So this is my life pie. You probably can't read my handwriting. It's terrible. I have spirituality, exercise, romance/adventure, play, work, friends, consistency, and recovery. So I wrote a little description as to why I rated it the way that I rated it. Spirituality, I do feel pretty good. I'm conversing with my higher power every morning. I'm on the way to building a stronger faith by taking action. With exercise, I work out consistently 5 times a week, and it is pretty essential for my mental health. But, I'm gonna be real. I've been feeling pretty frustrated/disillusioned with the results that I'm seeing. Oh, I feel so vulnerable. Anyways, oh man, should I even get into this? Whatever, we're just gonna get into it. It's not that big of a deal. I think that falls into the other category of change. And so changing what I'm doing in the gym, how I approach that whole goal of building muscle. Ultimately, I'm not going to prioritize that right now. This program is my priority, and I'm just going to keep things simple, and I can worry about that later. Romance/adventure. So when I think of romance, this means like doing new things and falling in love with them, like moving to a new city. Whenever I moved to Austin, that felt so romantic. Everything felt new, and exploring the city and the energy is something that I fell in love with. And it all felt very adventurous, and I was living on my own. Oh, it's so cool. I was kind of struggling to think of how I could incorporate more romance/adventure into my life. And I think one thing maybe could be, finding new books. Like with Annihilation, I fell in love with that book, and it did scratch a part of my brain that felt new and exciting. And on this second reading, it's changing the way that I am seeing things. So I think that's romantic. Also, I want a gay sci-fi novel. I was thinking of reading The Left Hand of Darkness by Ursula Le Guin, I think it is. And I thought I had it, but I couldn't find it. Oh well. Next up is play. This is like things that feel enjoyable, lighthearted, and fun. Kind of things in touch with your inner child. Just not for the sake of accomplishment, but for the sake of enjoyment. A couple of things, I'm going to go to the arcade this week. I love the shooting games, especially the Alien one. I am obsessed with Alien. I'm probably going to get a fucking Xenomorph tattoo. Aliens 2 is one of my favorite movies. It's one of my comfort movies, honestly. And then Clay Casa, where you like go and like paint the little clay things and then they fire them in the kiln and you can pick it up. I love that. I'm definitely going to do that this week too. And then like chalk, drawing with chalk. I used to love drawing with chalk when I was in like elementary school. And look at all this concrete. Okay, that's a good idea. Next up is work. I work a pretty standard 9 to 5 in tech, and I love my job, honestly. It's really easy for me to find a flow state when I'm working, and I get to work from home. It's super flexible, and I get a lot of autonomy too. And so I think, whenever I consider, my job that pays my bills is not what I'm passionate about, I am still really grateful to have this job that offers so many things outside of the work that are really important to me, like autonomy and flexibility. Friends, really high. I have a lot of friends, and they're always there for me, especially lately. And, beyond just the support that I'm so grateful for, like we understand each other, and we're always laughing, and we're always going out and doing things. And so in that aspect, I feel really fulfilled. The next one is consistency, and I added this category because she gave 6, but I accidentally divided the circle into 8. So I added consistency and recovery. With consistency, I used to be so undisciplined. I had so many lofty goals that I really wanted deep down to accomplish, but I was unable to because of my, I was still in my addiction, and I didn't have any really foundation or like values that I could hold myself to. But today, I have that, and I have a spiritual foundation that helps transform the actions that I take day to day. So, I'm showing up for my creative recovery, for my sobriety. I'm showing up for my physical health and my job every day. So when it comes to consistency, I'm feeling really fulfilled and so grateful for the changes that I've had. I'm not perfect, but there's still been a major shift, and reflecting on that gives me a lot of hope, honestly. And so recovery, sobriety. I rated this pretty highly because I've been taking a lot of action. I've been really making a conscious effort to be more transparent with the people around me, and I'm doing the work. I'm remaining willing. I'm connecting with my higher power, and I'm changing it up. So I've also been feeling pretty fulfilled in that area of my life as well. So that's my little week 2 check-in. Hey, this one I just am showing up and pushing through. So subscribe, follow me on Instagram, go watch my DJ set, and see you next week. Bye.